with the animal control lady, and I've had the sheriff involved a couple of times too. What's it take to go to dog jail? I don't understand. These people attacked my one dog twice, dachshund once, and a great big pit bull had it, and lucky I was able to kick it off. And the sheriff's been called a couple of times. I talked to Officer Deputy Nate Master last time, and I don't get a report coming back what they do. What's the ramifications of these? I worry about this kid right there. You know, worry about my dogs. They come into my yard and in the street. So last Friday I was walking my mini Labradoodle. I had 3 of them jump right in the middle of the street. I pulled the leash out of my hand, and then so it's supposed to be safe. That's it. And you know what I got out of it? So Nate comes back at about 4 o'clock, and he was in a hurry. So he gives me a criminal trespass notice.
Okay.
I've never been on their property at all. The only time I was there is when I helped the old contractor, Homestead Contracting, find lot corners. That's it. So I'm at a loss what to do. So I wish the council was here tonight, but they aren't. They could lead us in the right direction. Our city attorney.
Oh, yeah, Ed's not here.
He could say what to do.
I mean, yes. I mean, if the animal control officer has already been abreast of the situation or and been informed, and then the police have already been involved, are you looking for us to do some sort of like extra ordinance, or like what's your aim? Because I don't know what we can do, to be honest.
My aim?
Yeah.
Is to be safe out in my yard.
Totally understand. Right.
Why are they having these pit bulls in a small apartment?
Okay.
Is the same dogs that you're having issues with, like the same dogs repeatedly from the same place?
I couldn't understand.
They're the same dogs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it ranges up to 7. And we actually have a German Shepherd up around the corner too. They don't dare walk by that thing, even though it's tied up, So my goal is to have some control over it.
I mean, you're asking for control over other people's dogs, right?
Well, as the city has some control over it, have some safety.
And I understand that, but I feel like there's a process through a municipal officer and animal control officer, same person, that if they're involved in the situation and there's nothing they can do, I guess I'm confused about what you would like us as a council to be able to do on top of that. Because if there's no laws or ordinances being violated, meaning the police have been there and the municipal officer have been there, it is difficult for us to then make other assertions to what you're saying. Does that make sense?
And down to whomever
I'm not. No. And I'm not doing that. We are not the judge and the jury and the executioner here, right? If the law enforcement has been involved and there's nothing for them to do, I appreciate you bringing it to us. We can talk about is it a dangerous animal? I'm sure that language is in our nuisance animal. Okay. I'm sure we can talk about that ordinance.
That's why I don't understand. So it's been,
I mean, have you filed a complaint?
Yeah, it's been 3 times for me. 2 times I didn't call anybody. I was able to kick the dogs off and the owner came up.
But then, and I'm not trying to play legal here because Ed's not here, because that's what I would say. It's on Ed to make these decisions and conversation. I mean, you're welcome to, we can send your case or your issue to Ed and see what we can do, or if there's anything that can be done. And I'm not trying to pass the buck at all. I'm just telling you, I don't know what we can do. It's not like you can leave here and then you can go to them and say, hey, you got to get rid of your dogs because the town council said so. That's not really how it works. And that's just bureaucracy at its finest, I guess. But I think more than anything, like, I wish Ed was here because I think he could handle it a little bit better than what I can. But that's kind of where I'm at. I don't know. I'll let the other council speak. I'm one of the council, but at the same time, what we would normally say to do if you just brought the complaint to us, we would say, have you talked to the municipal officer? The answer is yes. Have you talked to the sheriff's department? The answer is yes. At that point, I don't know what else we can do.
That's right. That's what I figured. So.
Well, and I'm not, and please, I'm not trying to dismiss your concerns whatsoever.
I understand.
I just I don't.
That's the roadblocks I've been running up against here in the Upton. And I want to say you.
And that's fair. That's fair. And here's what's tough is that, again, as you said, you didn't file a complaint the first two. And so as far as anyone's concerned, this is the first complaint. Am I right?
Yeah.
Like, I understand where you're coming from. That I wish you could do. I wish that we could do more for you. I just don't know what you want us to do for it. Like, we can't, like I said, you can't leave with a piece of paper that says, hey, neighbor, we don't like your dogs. You got to do something different. Town council said so. Do you understand what I'm like, where I'm coming from with it?
Yeah. Your hands are tied like everybody else's. So.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't go that far. I mean, Abe, do you want to say something? Oh, I mean, I don't think necessarily your hands are tied. Or our hands are tied. I'm just saying, like, this is the first time we've ever had to deal with anything like this. And I mean, I've been on the council. This is like going on 10 years for me. So like, this is a new one, and Ed's not here because I feel like he could pull the piece of code out and say chapter and verse exactly what the proper steps are.
Maybe the process will start then. Am I the first that's come into you guys?
This situation that I can recall in my 10 years, yes. Because usually this doesn't come to the town council. This is typically handled by municipal officer and then law enforcement as needed. So like, this is a new thing, at least for what I can recall. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't want to speak for everybody, but.
Well, I think what I would say is what we can do is to talk to Michelle and make sure she's, fully aware of the situation, and to refer it to Ed and see if he has better solutions. Because I also don't want to just dismiss your concerns. But Tyler's right that we have to follow a process, but I think we can just make sure that it is being looked into.
Yeah, I understand. I appreciate that. So, as that done, they'd be pushing up daisies. That's, put up with that out in the county, in town here, and, what do you do? So, I wish Matt was here. The address of that place is 1037 Stewart. Who owns it?
Okay.
Matt Murdoch.
Well, I mean, and in that situation, that's a personal matter that I don't necessarily think it's a town council meeting, like, conversation. But at the same time, I, again, understand that. Have you talked to Matt outside of here today? I know he's not here yet, but have you talked to him, I assume? Matt, you pulled him into it. I'm curious. But so you've not talked to him either?
And what good is that going to do?
Well, he's the private property owner.
Yeah, that's what
He's
Just do this.
As a private property owner and the landlord of that property, he has a lot more authority than we do. So I would recommend a conversation with the landowner, which happens to be the mayor. And yeah, to Councilwoman Boyce's point, I mean, we don't want to dismiss your concern on a hand. And, and I have 2 dogs in town, and we're really careful about where we walk them. And I think part of the challenge is capacity. We have 1 municipal officer, and a lot of people don't respect our leash laws. And also, it may be an opportunity to at least look at, our enforcement code and see, maybe we need more teeth, but that can be a discussion, but it's not something that we can solve overnight, right? We make an amendment to an ordinance, that's 3 readings, and,
So 2.5 months later, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so you've talked to the owner or the owner of the dogs, correct? Okay. I would suggest talking to Matt, not necessarily at a council meeting, because I think I do think this is a personal situation. But because if he is the private owner and then he has dogs that are nuisance possible dogs there.
I was going to try to talk to him today, but he's evidently not here.
He will be here. There is a family emergency that took place. I don't think it's my place to divulge any more information, but so that's why I'm somewhat facilitating the meeting tonight. I would discuss that with Matt. I mean, you can get a hold of him. He is the mayor, but as a private landowner, and he obviously is the owner of that property, I think that would be my second call if the owner of those dogs is not taking good enough care. I think the next move is simply just to talk to Matt outside make on a phone call or whatever, have a cup of coffee, I don't know.
So after Maston, on Friday at about 4:30.
So this was just,
This is the same thing now.
no, I know, but this just happened is what you're bringing.
This just happened, yeah. I'm on the deck, I'm just starting to go down to my shop and here he comes. I said, oh, good. I said, hey, how you doing? And he didn't say a thing. He came up and he signed the time and date on this, handed it to me, and took off. And I said, what is this? He said, read it. It's a criminal trespass. I said, does that mean I can't walk down the street? He said, no, you can go down the street, don't go on their property. And so I talked to the deputy today. Every one of you guys, anybody, can get a criminal trespass notice if somebody doesn't like you, like a neighbor or that. I found that astonishing.
Okay.
You know, so anyway, so this is what I get from trying to take care of a vicious dog situation. And I don't like that. So
fair. That seems a personal opinion here, not a councilman opinion, but that seems overkill to me. But again, if you've gotten, like, I'm not a judge, not the jury, we're the town council, right? So if you've gotten the right people involved, which I would say the next person to get involved is citizen Matt Murdock, not necessarily Mayor Matt Murdock. And then it can go other places, I guess. I mean, it's not like Officer Maston called the town hall and we said, hey, do this. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I do. Yeah.
I wish we could do more because I want to be empathetic to your situation. And please don't take anything I'm saying as not being empathetic. Right. But it's just, I don't know what we can do.
I have an idea.
Yeah, go.
If we check our ordinances and see what we have in place for nuisance dogs,
That's right.
and then report to you kind of where we're going with that, would that be helpful?
Maybe, yeah, that'd be helpful. Maybe with the sheriff's department, they can go one step further. And I don't know, if you guys initiate something in that, then maybe they can go another step.
Okay.
I mean, so you've had conversations with our staff, or you've made staff aware of what's going on?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
what I'm asking is, so they have your contact information, is that correct?
I'm a 37-year shop teacher, so I can't, it echoes like crazy.
Oh, okay, no, you're fine. They have your contact information though, correct? The town hall, the town staff does? Okay. What we will do, we will pass that along, any information that we have in the meeting, possibly the recording if needed, from your conversation that we just had. We'll send that to Ed, and when Ed gets back, we'll see how it goes from there. And then that's, like, from my perspective, I don't know what more we can do, to be honest. Councilman Loftus' suggestion, Ed, I think that's kind of where we're at.
It'll get back to you. Maybe we can know that, and that, or, whether he's watching that or,
Well, I mean, he'll be here in a little bit, but again, he said he was going to be 20, 30 minutes late. So that's why I'm running the meeting right now. But that being said, I'm comfortable with that being the next steps, because if you and Matt were to have a conversation, in my opinion, that's a personal out of town meeting, open meeting conversation to be had firstly. If you have other issues you want to bring to the town council, like changing the ordinance or whatever, sure. I just don't think that's I think you
catch it tonight.
And that's fine. And I understand that. I'm sure he will get back to you, or you can contact him, or we can facilitate whatever. My point.
If he's got a family thing going on at home, I'm not going to contact him.
Well, not today. No. I'm just saying, like, at a different time, like, that's all. But I think that's, from my perspective, that makes a lot of sense. We'll get with it. We'll get Ed involved, make sure the nuisance laws are written up in a certain way that maybe be able to help you. I don't know if they're going to help, but it's something.
Yep, that's what I'm here for.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I shouldn't have to worry about going out in my yard.
Totally agree.
These guys riding bike down the street, I shouldn't worry about that.
The reason that people love to live here, that is absolutely one of the reasons, is that it's safe. And if you don't feel safe, then we need to try to do something to help if we can.
Very good. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Any other citizen concerns?
So sorry, I had to rush out of work for this.
Thanks, Gary.
I'm not sure if you received my paper that I dropped off to the office 2 weeks ago, just showing our projects that we're planning as well. I wanted to include the estimated cost to also show what we're getting approval for loans, everything, just to make sure that we're showing the progress and the right intention behind this potential permit.
I believe
Put it on the
the
agenda.
town has received everything that we need, and it is on resolutions further down inside of the ordinance to approve that permit. One of the things we were unsure of when they want that project to start, which certainly
Sure.
we'll time to discuss that to make sure that their 90-day clock kind of starts at the right time.
Mhm.
I'm looking at for it right now. And it looks like it's H12 Resolution 2025-06
Mhm.
is where it's being considered. So I
Yeah.
think we've received everything we need. Are you outstanding anything?
No, I think we got everything.
Okay, so the question is, do we want to get the date from them now so they don't have to stay?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay,
That would be
what
wonderful.
date would you like that to start?
As soon as possible, especially we want to take advantage of the warm weather to try and complete as much as we can.
So next week, because this, I'm just kidding. All right. Yeah. Yeah,
That is our hope, is to start as soon as possible, just so we can get as much done while the weather's perfect.
but we still need like a date, correct?
Yeah, I'm looking down at it real quick. I think we put the 15th on the,
It's 6/1. and this-
It's not going to be warm later, according to the weather.
yeah, it's effective as of June 1st in resolution. It doesn't matter what that date, it could be tomorrow.
Yeah.
It could be tomorrow, which would be the 13th. It can be the 15th, but whenever we start that, we have to mark the 90 days in the resolution. So
Mhm.
that's
Okay.
really up to you guys.
Yes, so you tell us what day you want and then we will do that.
Okay, wonderful, yeah. I would say, could we start, the 15th would be this weekend?
Thursday?
Or,
Thursday?
okay,
Thursday.
15th,
that would
okay?
be wonderful, and then we'll just keep you guys updated as time periods go forward.
Perfect. You got all you need?
No problem with that. Yeah,
Cool.
You guys make the motion later, you'll just
So-
make sure we
And it
have.
starts at 15th. Okay. Perfect.
Anything else that you need from that?
I think so. If they're good, then I think we're good too.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right. Any other citizen concerns? Council concerns? This is usually where I buy time and wait for Matt, but he's,
I did have a quick question for Abe. Do you have if it hasn't already happened, do you have an estimated wrap-up date for the work in the park? In, Boyd Skinner?
On Boyd Skinner Park? Yeah. Yeah, Councilman, they wrapped up the bulk of the work last week, so there's not any active excavation going on down there, but they haven't paved back or anything in that regard. So right now they're on the north end. Today they were making the crossing underneath the irrigation ditch, the Lee ditch, and so it kind of goes right north of OC's, right on the edge of town. So they have about 2 blocks left of pipe to put in the ground. That block right by Bosse's was full of utilities, took a while to get through. But they should get through that, I would guess, by the end of this week or maybe next week. As soon as they get that patched up, they'll be going back and doing the punch list items of pave back and kind of final grading and whatnot. But the pond is back on and everything is kind of filling up and the pipe down there is fully operational, the new pipe they put in. So it's not quite tidied up until they get back and pave it and kind of clean up behind themselves. But the bulk of the work is out of the way.
Awesome, thank you.
I just,
The pathway is closed on the west side of the creek because of the other project. We're trying to kick people north, but sorry.
no, I was just going to jump topics. I was just going to say kudos to town staff. I saw a lot of work out today with the banners going up and work on the, in the green spaces, and just, it's really good to see it. It gives us the hope of summer, but they did a nice job and I want you to acknowledge them.
I will do that tomorrow. I'll let them know. No, the next, I'll evaluate the sunburns.
farmer stand in full effect. Yeah, and then it gets really cold this week, so that's how that works. Yeah, fun stuff. Okay, any other concerns? Okay. Moving on to visiting delegations, Nurses Week proclamation, Mary, all right? She here? She's not on, okay. Okay, I think, yeah. Do any nurses want to speak to it? Okay, well, thank you for what you do. On top of, it looks like we'll need to read it into the minutes if we could. And since Matt will be here and he's on the letter, whoever reads it will just,
With his name.
yeah.
Okay, I'll do it since I just had surgery last week, so I thank all of the nurses everywhere. So I move that we approve this as this Nurses Week proclamation and authorize Matt to sign the document. And the proclamation states, whereas registered nurses in Wyoming constitute our state's largest healthcare profession, and whereas the depth and breadth of the registered nursing profession meets the different and emerging healthcare needs of the Wyoming population in a wide range of settings. And whereas the Wyoming Nurses Association, as the voice for registered nurses in this state, is working to chart a new course for a healthy nation that relies on increasing access to primary and preventative health care and better utilization of all of our state's registered nursing resources. And whereas professional nursing is an indispensable component of the safety and quality of care of hospitalized and non-hospitalized patients. And whereas the demand for registered nursing services will be greater than ever because of the aging of the Wyoming population, emerging health challenges, and continuing expansion of life-sustaining technologies, and the explosive growth of home health care services. And whereas more qualified registered nurses are needed in the future to meet the increasingly complex needs of healthcare consumers in the community, and whereas the cost-effective, safe, and high-quality healthcare services provided by registered nurses will be an increasingly important component of the Wyoming healthcare delivery system in the future, and whereas the Wyoming Nurses Association has declared May 6th through 12th as Nurses Week with the theme, The Power of Nurses, with appreciation for nurses' unparalleled impact and their contributions to healthcare, and an open invitation to hashtag thank a nurse for enriching our lives and the world we live in. Now, therefore, Matt Murdock, Mayor of the town of Pinedale, does hereby, does hereby proclaim May 6th through 12th, 2025, Nurses Week, and be resolved that the residents of Wyoming celebrate registered nurses' accomplishments and efforts to improve our healthcare system and show our appreciation for the state's registered nurses, not just during the week, but at every opportunity throughout the year. In witness whereof, I have hereto signed my hand and caused the executive seal of the town of Pinedale to be affixed to this proclamation this 5th day of May, 2025.
I'll second.
And again, thank you all.
I'll go ahead and finish the motion. Motion made by Councilwoman Boyce and seconded by Councilman Kasiba to approve or announce rather that this is Nurses Week and allow the mayor to sign. All those in favor?
Aye.
That says 4-0 and hand it over to you.
Thank you. Are there any nurses here?
Sure.
Oh, yeah. All right. Yeah.
Somebody whose father just was served by the needs nurses. Thank you very much for your service. All right, next item on the agenda. Thank you, Councilman, for stepping in as the Pinedale Aquatic Center annual budget presentation. Amber?
Thank you all for taking some time today. Amber Anderson, Director of Pinedale Aquatic Center. I am here today just to present our annual budget as a partner of the Joint Powers Agreement. A few things about this year's proposed budget. We did do a zero growth budget, which is incredibly challenging with the rising costs of everything. We did have some shifting around of budget line items, but I'm really proud of our staff's efforts to make it possible to have that zero growth budget. We have had some ongoing conversations with school district number 1 about the curriculum, which makes up a tremendous portion of our budget. As everyone is aware, those are anticipated to be significantly down. Last week I was with them at their finance committee meeting and then again at their board meeting, and they have committed essentially a 5-year kind of plan of evaluating and reviewing where the rec mill is. This next year, they anticipate that it will be down to where they're only able to offer us $1.1 or $1.2 million. But with that 5-year plan, they're committed to using reserves out of the PAC asset preservation account, and interest earned on that account to make up the remaining balance to continue current operations. That is not a long-term solution, and we recognize that, but we will continue to monitor that closely over the next few years. And if 2-3 years from now, everything's looking as bleak as it currently is, then we will shift gears and we will definitely change some of our strategy and work on some pretty aggressive revenue diversification efforts. So a few highlights for us for this year. We are really proud to announce that we are the recent recipient of an out-of-school mentoring grant with the National Rec Park Association. So we'll be developing and implementing a mentorship program across all of the youth programs. So it'll start in our summer Little Rainbow Day Camp program, and then it'll continue over into whatever our Friday programs look like and into our Junior Wrangler sports program. So we are very excited about that. It's a national grants, competitive, so very excited. I'm proud of the team for all their work in putting that together. And then I have a packet of information I'd like to give to you guys. We did adopt a new strategic plan last fall, and part of it, a primary goal continues to be diversifying our funding revenue. And we recognize that education is a large piece of that. So making very intentional efforts moving forward of meeting with elected officials from town council, school board, and county commissioners to help them understand why they're part of the joint powers agreement and what PAC does in the community. And so we put a packet of information together that kind of has that basic information in it. So I'd like to leave you your packet to review. If you have any questions on it, I'd be more than happy to talk with you or meet with you at another time to review. But you are my last group, and so now everybody is up to speed on receiving these. And then moving forward, I'll be able to meet with them individually when elections happen.
That national grant, how much was that?
It's 60,000, but it's spread out over like 2.5 years.
Oh, okay.
So
Gotcha. Still, congratulations. That's cool.
yeah, we're excited about it. So, and with that, I'll answer any questions.
Was it a good time? Yeah.
Any questions?
I do have one. With school district 1 going to 4-day school week, that's going to put pressure on you guys on Fridays. And are they willing to help with that in this budget proposal? Are they going to give you more to take care of that?
I don't think there's more available in it. Our goal is to offer programs and services within our current budget. So we have a needs assessment ready that will go out to this elementary school age students' parents this week to truly evaluate what is the projected need for childcare on Friday. And then based on what we receive back from that, we'll develop our programs with current staff. So I might be running Friday program. But recognizing that there will be a need in the community, but we didn't have the budget to support additional staffing needs.
All right.
We are appreciative of the school district's willingness to dip into reserves to maintain operations. Because it could have very much been a different conversation of like, sorry, we're short. Hey, you're $300,000, $400,000 short this year. Figure it out. And for us to do a $300,000 budget cut means public services and programs because it's staffing. That's the only way we can make that.
Good.
Do you want to give an update on the progress of the project?
Cool. It's coming along nicely. It's been really fun to watch.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys do social media, but if you do, hopefully you see some of the updates on it. They have majority of the tile work done. They should finish the liner this week or next. All the plumbing repairs have been completed. They did find much more damage than we had originally found when they dug up the deck. They found more. And even after they had done all of the plumbing repairs and they did the final test of it, they found an additional one that they hadn't been able to sense or find or whatever you call it prior to that. So right now, all the lines held 100%, passed all of their pressure testing. So we should be leak proof on it. So they are in the process of backfilling right now, anticipate concrete being poured end of next week, early the following week. So we're on task, on time, maybe a weekish or so delayed, but overall, the project has gone very well and it's looking very nice.
Yeah.
And we're excited for what that does for our budget, or for our utility bills. Yeah.
Every little bit helps.
Pertinent to us because they're income.
Instead of copper, so they plastic one.
Yes.
EDC?
Isn't that what the big ones
Service
are?
and Matt got Murdoch.
They're big white. I'm guessing that's these.
It's like my computer.
Any other questions?
I'm playing catch up at the moment.
Murdoch.
Yeah, at ravensr.com. Sorry, my batteries are all dying. I've been on the road and my batteries are dying.
I brought a cord today.
And I couldn't get into my account on this little laptop. Anyhow,
Should be working its way over there.
fantastic.
Cool.
Any other questions for Beck? Sure.
Yeah.
The
Want
progress.
him to think of one or?
Fun to see stuff torn apart.
Such a.
The demo was impressive.
Yeah,
How cleanly they did the demo was even more impressive.
good, because that means less cleanup.
We had some serious dusting to do, but it's been amazing.
Good, okay.
Okay.
Good.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Amber. Yeah.
Well, it's 25 meg, so it's gonna take a sec.
Okay.
Even with my handy dandy.
All right, next item on the agenda is going to be a public hearing for Pinedale Estates Edition Block 5, Second Amendment. Abe, oh, thank you. Got it.
Did it come through? Okay.
Mr. Mayor, Town Council, before you guys today is a preliminary plat of Pinedale Estates Addition Block 5, Second Amendment. Can be seen right out our front door. If you peer through the fire pit there, you might see it. What Casey Gowan has proposed to do in his amendment here is to basically just clean up the lot line. When that was first subdivided and built into a rec center, they had sized the lot to the south to fit a multifamily, I assume, similar to these that are next to us. Then it got converted into a car dealership and mechanic shop, and now Mr. Dowan owns it. And Mr. Dowan, before he sells or does anything with that south lot, he wants to protect those large bays that are on the south side and make sure he has his room. So he's just carrying the south lot line straight across. It's just a simple lot line, and I wish we had a different process to doing it, but I see no issues. It's been reviewed by the town engineer and his surveyor. There's really no issues with it, and it would be a recommendation of staff. It's approved as presented.
All right, questions?
It's also been seen by planning and zoning. I'm sorry. Chairman Wells's letter of recommendation. They did recommend.
No, I mean, it's a pretty straightforward.
It's
an obvious thing. Yeah, there's no reason not to do it. Does anybody get questions? No. Mr. Dowan, would you like to speak? I mean, you only gave me sporadically, so, you know.
You guys said it all. Just trying to clean it up, that's all.
Okay. All right, I'm good with this. I know Ed is good with this, so I will entertain a motion, please.
I move that we approve the preliminary plat of the Pinedale Estates Edition Block 5, Second Amendment, the vacation of Lot 1, Pinedale Estate Edition Block 5, and vacation of Lot 8, Pinedale Estate Edition Block 5, First Amendment, and the creation of Lot 1 and Lot 2.
I'll second.
Moved by Councilwoman Boyce, seconded by Councilman Swafford, to approve the preliminary plat of Pinedale Estates Edition Block 5, Second Amendment, the vacation of Lot 1, and Pinedale East Edition Block 5, and the vacation of Lot 8, Pinedale Estates Edition Block 5, First Amendment, and the creation of Lot 1 and 2. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 5-0.
Mr. Mayor, the only improvements they need is a property corner, and then we got to get our legal advertisements on the final plat, but it will likely be not the next council meeting, but the one following, just because of the legal timelines of which I will to advertise the final plat.
Sounds good.
Cool.
Thank you very much, Ed. Thank you, Mr. Dowan.
Thank you.
Click. Okay, next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. This is F1, the Wham JPIC, that's our insurance renewal, rendezvous parade, amended temporary use permit. I think that's reflecting a date change. Amy, am I correct?
Time.
No, time change.
I was like, wait.
Yeah, we're going early, sorry.
An hour earlier.
We're going an hour early. We've spoken to the sheriff, he's good with that. I'm fine with it. Ralph Wen's Field Self-Serve Farm Electrical Grounding Procurement. Pretty obvious, has to be done. And then the R&D striping for 2025 curb and crosswalk painting. Any questions?
I had a question about F3, just because it came up to the airport board last week. The question was, and it looks like you have it here, but that was the process that Mr. Wilson went through. Kind of, it conforms to what we need for bidding out and for that. I know it's weird and all that.
Like one of them didn't even I mean, I think Abe had spoken to him like 4 months ago and never called back.
Okay. That was our only.
We had one offer, so we're kind of treating it as, we put it out there, maybe it's sole source, maybe it's not, but we definitely went out there and shopped this out about 4 or 5 months ago, and this is the one offer we got.
That was the only concern I had, but the board was, we wanted to get this taken care of ASAP, so glad to see it on the agenda.
Legit question.
These types of things are really challenging when you have these small professional service things. They don't like bidding them. They don't have the time for that stuff. It's hard to get them. And I'm not a professional, so I have to depend that these professionals are providing the right scope. He does have the right testing at the end of it to verify. I'm comfortable with it.
Okay, just wanted to check.
All right.
I have a question, well, not so much a question as a comment on the striping. I know, we've had people that have talked about in between Aspen Grove and the retirement center, and I know that there's colored concrete there, so we don't need to stripe it. Can we put a bollard there or something that, one of those flags that we have in the middle of our street that says this is a crosswalk?
We bought a whole bunch last summer, in the summer, because so many got destroyed. If we have
Yes,
an
I
extra
noticed.
one, I'll have them put it in there.
I think that would be a nice place, just so that they know that we are, conscious of the fact that they're
It's
like,
on the south side.
it's to the east of it's between the buildings. So like Aspen Grove, where you have that entrance, and if you're going to like Proactive or the Child Care Center, a lot of people use that road. And I don't know that they always, it's like you turn behind Ridley's and then turn left again. And it's between those buildings where I think people just aren't in the frame of mind of thinking that there are people walking back and forth. And of course, these are people that can't really dodge traffic.
They can't run fast.
So it would just be nice to have something. Yeah.
You can put the speed bump anywhere.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of speed bumps. But I think if you could at least put the sign up that says, hey, this is a crosswalk, it would help.
My neighbor wants a speed bump now.
A few weeks in each location.
Yeah.
Move around.
I, for the record, do not want a speed bump.
I'm fine with a speed bump if it just happens to be the south of my house.
There's nothing south of your house.
Oh, like right south of where I park. I don't know where our guest is, but okay. All right. Any other comments on the consent agenda? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as published.
I second that.
All right, moved by Councilman Swafford, second by Councilman Loftus, to approve consent agenda as published. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next item on the agenda is our other town business. We're beginning by rescheduling our May 26th meeting. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to look at the calendar, but
Memorial Day.
it is Memorial Day. I have workers who don't want to work. It's actually a holiday.
Lame.
Just check this.
I'm siding with the workers.
Now, but to be fair, they did say that if we wanted to come in, that they would definitely work because they're committed to the well-being of.
I don't think you're going to have a quorum.
Do you just want to move it to Tuesday or do you want to move it further?
So we're talking May 26th. Or earlier, we could move it the previous week.
I'll be
Probably
out,
not,
I'll be out of town personally next week, but feel free
I mean,
to.
if we do it on Tuesday, I would ask if we did it on the morning of Tuesdays, but I'm actually taking off for a small trip that Tuesday afternoon. Or Tuesday.
I can do either direction.
If we go Tuesday, earlier in the day would be better for me.
Okay.
Make it work.
Do Tuesday at 9? Is that good? 8:30? Right here, 7?
What is the actual date on that again?
I mean, if we're gonna do it, we'll.
Sleep over here, start at 3.
7th.
I'd rather do it early just because then I can get to work and.
Right.
Yeah.
I can do whenever in the
I
morning.
don't know if 8 or 8, we could say, is everybody okay with 8:30?
Oh, me?
Oh, yeah, that could be 6:45 works too.
Yeah.
What time did Max and Peggy wake up? We need the public here. Oh,
Ah.
darn.
On Tuesday? Okay, Peggy? Okay.
That's nice.
Okay, so Tuesday at 8:30?
I'd say 8:30 if everybody's good with that.
We all good, kind of full, straw poll?
I would go earlier, but if everybody wants 8:30, that's fine.
I can go earlier, doesn't matter to me.
Easily.
8's fine by me. Nice. That's like it.
What time does staff usually get?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Do you get here later than that usually? Okay.
Some of them get here at 6. I don't know. I feel like Amy's answering my emails at 6:45 sometimes, so, yeah. All right, let's say 8 o'clock then.
You text me and remind me so that my queue
Okay,
is
so-
ready.
Is your wake
I move that we move our next town council meeting, the regularly scheduled May 26th meeting to 8 a.m. on the 27th.
I second that.
Moved by Councilman Swafford, second by Councilman Loftus to move our regularly scheduled meeting from May 26th to May 27 at 8 a.m. Any discussion? If none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is the Sweetwater Technology Services dual server purchase and installation. Cody is on the phone. This is the purchase of 2 servers. One will be at Public Works, one will be up here at the Town Hall. We will be putting Cassell on our local server. That's one of the reasons it's costing as much as it is. And this gives us the ability to provide all the backup. Are the prices the same since I last looked at this?
So in the quote you have, yes, it is. So I
It
did
didn't go down.
forward your questions to Cody and I had to defer to him on answering.
Okay. Cody.
Hello, thanks for having me. A couple questions that Abe sent over to me regarding the SQL licensing, the warranty, and the rack for each server. So starting with the SQL licensing, this is just the database software that is required by Cassell. It's a platform that sits basically behind Cassell, where Cassell's interface interacts with. So that's one of their requirements, and it's also a Microsoft license that they require as well. So that's just for the program to work. Any questions on SQL or SQL?
So I'm sorry, the licensing is included?
It's not included, it's required. It's included in our proposal, it's required by Cassell to have it.
Right, okay.
So it just has a SQL background.
We're not talking about the RDU, right? We're talking about the SQL.
Correct.
All right. Okay, next.
Next, the question was pricing for warranty for 3 years or 5 years. You're looking at a few $100s difference here. I had to resubmit pricing for a 3-year option for both servers. But again, you're looking at maybe around $300 difference or cheaper per server. If we go with a 3-year warranty, we will always recommend the 5-year because that's going to be the longevity of the life of your servers. the goal for your redundant server environment in the future is to extend the warranty of one server, so you're not replacing both at the same time to get the best out of your environment.
Okay.
So Cody, just for clarification, if we went with the 3-year, that'd save $600 off the price tag.
Essentially, yes. I don't have that exactly, but I have to resubmit that to get a final price.
Any questions?
Why wouldn't you just do the 5-year?
I was trying to save money.
Oh, okay.
Could we do it?
I just feel like in 3 years, you're just gonna have to make the same decision.
Well, the idea was that
More
we would
than-
be moving one of the servers, so you could renew one server, kind of like, and one server would.
Oh, get them
Yeah.
staggered, like, okay.
Well, why don't we do a 3-year on one and a 5-year on the other one?
What's that?
Why don't we do a 3-year warrant, or the 3-year on one and then a 5-year on the other one, and then they're already staggered.
Yeah, I mean, we could go that route. I just don't know if saving the $300 is worth the risk of, I mean, I thought it was gonna be more, to be honest.
Oh, okay. I'm good.
Yeah, if I had thought it was gonna be, because I think, what was the cost? What's the cost in here?
So yeah, 60,000. Just so.
No, for
The actual warranty.
the warranty itself was, I'm trying to find it here.
I don't. It's
Oh, you
built
didn't
into
break-
the price of the server.
You didn't break it up, yeah, you just had it in the top column, so I was just trying to figure out how to get this, save some money on this.
Yeah, to Judy's point, I thought,
Maybe more later.
well, yeah, it's gonna be twice as much later, especially with, tariff world that we live in.
Tariffs?
I know, have you heard of these things?
We don't hear.
You know, that's right, we don't.
Heard? That's money for us, we're government, that's money we're earning, you know?
Econ 101 courses hurt me. It hurts.
All right, I tried, guys, to get this thing down lower, but Cody wouldn't do it, so. I just- that was an option.
It is kind of surprising how expensive those are, but you gotta have it.
Well, and I want to point out, I mean,
There's a
we
reason.
have the option that we could continue to work with Cassell on the cloud. That is an option, but there are issues that come with that. And there's also security questions. There's new laws being passed that we will be fully compliant by the time this is done. But this might even also be frankly a little bit overkill, but I don't mind a little overkill, especially with data and stuff that we're going to be using, so.
Yeah, it's people's data, it's people's water and sewer bill. I mean, like, it just makes sense, I think.
Yeah, the only person who's gonna suffer is Maureen, because she'll still have to probably remotely access, so technically it'll be like a cloud for her. But it might be faster than cloud.
She can, yeah.
So,
So am I understanding it correctly that in 5 years, we expect we're gonna have to pay this every 5 years? to
not that,
replace
so
these?
we'll keep one up and then we'll make one go 8 years or something like that, and then we'll start staggering.
Okay.
Councilman Boyd, it's not this entire cost. Like when you start deploying server, you're talking like that first line item that's in this, like the overall install. I mean, there'll probably be a little bit more than that, but it's not the whole building it and
Oh, that's true.
first time cost.
I mean, how often do servers fail, Cody? Just ballpark it, I'm not gonna hold you to it.
Fail, it's rare. Complete failure. We've done one total RMA in the 4 years that I've been working with servers. Issues and warranty parts, that's a little bit different. So I can't give you a number or how often that happens, but it is more often than a total failure.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
and I've taken the time and I've compared what the Cassell is asking for and what they've done. Again, this exceeds actually what Cassell is asking for, but the reality is 2 years from now.
2 updates from now, it's gonna.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, all right. So I just wanted, I tried. But Cody just wouldn't play ball with me.
Something
It's
tells
gonna
me it
be better in the
wasn't all
future.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't all Cody. It is what some things just cost what they cost. So I'll entertain a motion, assuming we want to go this. Are we planning to do this all or are we wanting to split this up, Abe?
Mr. Mayor, the timing of where this would go, we approve tonight and get it signed and back to Cody. They will order all the equipment. It'll take it a few weeks to get in, and then it's a professional service agreement. And so as they get the rest of the work done, we won't see a part of like the installation cost until the next fiscal year budget. So we'll be paying for parts under one pay app for this budget, and labor will land in the next fiscal year budget.
Okay,
So what is the best way to handle that then?
just take a motion, and let it happen. We'll just pay it out as the things go through. So,
Okay. I move that we approve the purchase and installation of dual servers from Sweetwater Technology in an amount not to exceed $61,000.
I'll second that.
moved by Councilman Swafford, second by Councilman Loftus, to approve the purchase and installation of dual servers from Sweetwater Technology in an amount not to exceed $61,000. Any questions? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? That motion carries 5-0. Right, next item on the agenda is the P&A. Thank you, Cody.
Thank you all.
Take care. Next item on the agenda is the preliminary scope of work, professional services for the purpose of designing and construction of our new hangar at Ralph Wentz. This is about $5,000. And we also have to get an independent view estimate. So we gotta get this going. We have to have this under contract by when?
The end of June.
End of June.
It's always a struggle to get the IFE in place, and we're under a slightly more condensed schedule. So I'm kind of asking for a blanket. Typically IFEs are $2,000 to $3,000. I'm asking you guys approve that. So when we get the scope finalized with the FAA on Thursday, that we can go out and seek our IFE quotes. We always seek it from at least 3 companies. And when we get those, we can hire a little better and go ahead and get that IFE completed and back to you guys by the June deadlines.
Sounds good.
I have a question about this. It's extending into that parking lot. Is that the back side of the hangar? I'm guessing they're coming in from the other side. And do we have the ability to extend that parking lot further over? Because you're losing about a quarter of your spots there.
Councilwoman Boyce, I have looked at that specifically, and that parking lot is the most terribly striped parking lot in America. And so I think we can actually restrict the parking lot as part of the project and have just as many spots. I mean, it'd be a little bit narrower drive lanes and kind of some of those things, but we could still fit the same number of 10 by 20 spaces in there. We can move the security fence back to match where the kind of the hangar is, and I think there's plenty of room without, you know, spending a ton. Like, we can remove asphalt and not cause a major problem.
I have that my OCD doesn't like the fact that
I know. I struggled with it as well. I'm hoping we have very creative engineers that make it look good, because nothing lines up out there.
I'm super excited about this. Great work, Abe and to Wes for pushing this really hard on a short deadline with all the things moving around. Yeah, if we can make this happen by June, this is a big boon for the airport.
I agree. All right, if there's no other discussion, I'll take the motion.
I move that we approve the preliminary scope of work for professional services for the purpose of design, permitting, construction of a new hangar at Ralph Wentz Field, and approve the hiring of a third-party engineer to complete an independent fee estimate in conformance with federal requirements in an amount not to exceed $5,000 pending final procurement of said third-party firm.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Casipa, second by Councilman Boyce, to approve the preliminary scope of work for professional services for the design and permitting construction of our new hangar, as well as the independent fee estimate not to exceed $5,000. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Next, Abe is spending more money, just keeps on going. Maureen and Amy love him.
Mayor and council, I have pleaded with the clerk to make more money. No.
Someone photocopy it for you. Well,
Arrest some dogs, apparently.
We've got room in the building.
About a year ago, we went out for bid for a new cargo van. We did not receive any bids, and we talked to the town attorney about how we could proceed forward, and looked at the state statute, and we tried to procure a used van, which is a slightly different process statutorily than a new vehicle. At the time, we didn't have the budget to buy a decently used van. Our team has rebudgeted into this fiscal year, and Kevin and Spencer have went and looked at vans in Salt Lake. We had talked about trying to get maybe a lift van. Unfortunately, those are very frustrating, but we can't even find one to go look at, let alone.
I drove by several in Idaho, sitting on the kind of rusted on the side of the road. But.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, we have procured a van for the water and sewer department. It would be our recommendation that pending the review of our town attorney and our process for statutory requirements that we award to Young Automotive Group for a cargo van for $54,010. We would ask for a little bit there as however those taxes, fees, delivery, all that works. So we would like it not to exceed maybe 56,000. I'm sure we can do that.
I'll be honest with you, having done this not that long ago, is that enough room? It's less than $2,000.
You can do 60, but we would like to award to Young Auto. So like
where's it?
It's in Salt Lake. We will be the ones going to get it.
Right. I was just thinking we buy it there. Well, we're government too. We'll be okay. 56 should cover it.
I think so, but.
Just don't want to go through this and wait 2 more
I know.
years.
If you give us up to 60, we'll just.
Okay. You guys cool with that?
Yeah.
Just make sure, because it's.
They're not gonna
that's a
spend it
pain.
if they don't need it.
Right. Okay, I move that we approve the purchase of a used cargo van for the water and wastewater department from Young Automotive Group, pending the final review from the town attorney, in an amount not to exceed $60,000. Note that is a difference than the agenda.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Swafford, second by Councilwoman Boyce, to approve the purchase of a used cargo van for the water wastewater department not to exceed $60,000. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
It's always those little fees when you go and pick it up.
Mhm.
That's the BS they get you on.
Now, this is Chelsea's
License, title, and
favorite project
license.
she's been working
Oh,
on.
geez.
Addresses in Pinedale. They're not right.
There's far more not right than we thought too.
Yeah, we talked about this a couple years ago.
Yeah.
With Split Diamond.
Having that.
So, Chelsea,
Oh,
Yes,
stun us.
I just perused through the entire town and was looking for any discrepancies in addresses as far as consistency and even odds on the right side of the streets. And
There were a couple.
there were quite a few. Some we could probably get away with not trying, maybe changing the addressing lines to accommodate maybe to appease some people, but some are just way too far.
and just for the layperson, by having addresses corrected, is it just for finding? Like,
Yeah, it's a health and safety issue.
Because
Because when we call dispatch, we say go to, well, when anybody
Yeah.
calls 911 and says,
Yep.
I need an ambulance at 811, whatever, you should be able to there should be a system that whoever's driving the ambulance can get there and can get there efficiently. Ours starts from Pine Street, north is block 100, 200, 300, 400, same thing going south. And then we have east and west of Tyler as well. Tyler's kind of the east-west break. There's just somewhere between 50 and 100 errors. I didn't count all of them. And it's a challenge because it's very inconvenient for people.
I was just gonna point that out.
Yeah. So we want to have a discussion with the council.
Mhm.
We would still like to meet with dispatch and figure out how we can best solve this, but we feel like it's a health and safety issue that and it's getting complicated for us to try to address lots because now you got one wrong next to a couple that are right, and then it makes even less sense. So someone's driving down the road and there's instances where they go 820, 830, 810 down the road. And you look,
yeah, that's clearly.
There's issues all over the place. There's whole blocks that are off and misnumbered and it just causes.
I do wish Casey was here tonight because I'd ask him when they send, okay, today's world of technology, I can type in a phone and say, I need to go to 210 West Pine. And it'll take me, like, it shows me how to get there. Does this impact that? Like, No. Sorry, not Casey Dowling, Casey Lear.
Sheriff.
Because when they call 911, assuming a deputy is going to go show up, do they just literally just like automatically pop it up in their vehicle and it says they're going right there?
To a point, yes, but I know if you were talking to Sheriff Lear and Chad Cooper, they would actually ask that we increase our ordinances to the outside marking is consistent across town so that everybody's street addresses say red letters and minimum 6 inches tall and on the front of their house or whatever.
I think it's
Yeah.
Red letters.
I don't know, they would, I'm not saying exactly how it would be, but they would look for consistency, because I do think that marking of homes is less than ideal.
Yeah, because for a homeowner who, I'm not gonna lie, if the red is what we're changing, the red does impact my home.
12-inch letters. 12-inch letters, though, will make it so people can find it.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm just more thinking about everything that I have as my physical address, a different address.
It is a challenge. Obviously, we'd like to meet with Sheriff Lear and Chad Cooper and dispatch to see what type of lift are we looking at. This is gonna cause some anger and hate and discontent.
That was why I asked the first question. What is the benefit to doing this? That's why I asked it.
Put it off for the next council. Thank you. I mean, I think for town planning, especially since we are growing, it's something that we should at least be talking about addressing. I would love to hear from Chief Cooper and Sheriff Lair about if this is impacting them now, and if as we add more addresses to the county or to the town, if that's going to further exacerbate their challenges.
I do know that I've heard Chad mention it here before.
Casey's
Yeah.
Sheriff Lear's mentioned it as well.
Yeah, so I know it's something that they would like us to fix.
There is 3 Lake Streets that I'm aware of. So would that be addressed too? The streets that are named the same, at least with some kind of a.
One of them's not.
That's a great question for town attorney, because then you're looking at plats and.
Right, but
So,
when I was an EMT in this town, you always had to clarify which Lake Street because they're not the same.
Yeah, that.
Yes.
Not the same.
One's Lake Street and one's Lake Avenue, I think, and
And Fremont Lake Road.
Yeah.
Everybody refers to as Lake Road.
yeah.
Oh, do they really?
So I know that's already been fun.
Wilson Street, the east-west on Wilson and Washington, and it's confusing because it's Tyler Avenue. Yours is well, you probably don't quite have a Washington address, but your neighbor has a West Washington.
Well, and the problem is that Washington doesn't go straight through. You've got the creek in between, and so you've got 2 Washington streets. So.
Was it Washington before the creek?
Yep, it was. And then the creek came along and
It just went right through. Well,
Yeah, that's how.
well, the creek did not come along like.
But
I think they just try to draw a straight line.
So my opinion on this is that no matter when it happens, it's going to be a pain. And it's better just to do it now, because the longer we wait, the more problems there's going to be that are going to need to be fixed. So.
Here now, there's fewer people to complain. You wait another 5 years, there'll be more people around here.
I've also talked to Casey Down, and he would love to see this road renamed as well, the one right next to. There's only 3 addresses on this building.
Oh, entertainment.
The apartments, entertainment lane.
Yeah, there's not much entertainment. I mean, you could come here. This is entertaining.
This is the best entertainment in my day.
I thought maybe like Southwest Avenue or something.
We used to talk about selling popcorn and sucker down.
I still think we could have had Netflix filming documentaries back in the, or like reality show series back in the day. The old town hall would have been fantastic.
Popcorn.
So good.
So what I would propose is that Chelsea and I meet with the emergency group in town, and we report back to you guys once we finalize how critical and how extensive we vetted kind of each property with them, and then we can decide how to proceed. But it is going to cause discontent.
Yeah, while you're on it, why don't you ask Ed about entertainment plan? I mean, there's 3 of us and it doesn't, I mean, Chauncey's gonna be building down. If we change that now, it'll make life easier.
It's going to be Tyler Avenue of this side if it ever extends all.
I think entertainment plan is frankly a funny name for one of our main streets, so talk to Ed about that and see.
I'll take another road.
Tyler East.
And then we can all decide it's gonna be Peggy Street instead. Or Mac Street.
Peggy Boulevard.
Oh,
Maybe Boulevard. Nice.
Peggy Avenue.
Peggy Sue.
Weber Way.
Weber Way.
Yeah.
It's going to be Avenue. please. Avenues would be preferred. All of our north streets are avenues, north, south, east.
Max is feeling left out here, guys.
I didn't realize that.
Abe's Avenue.
You're feeling left out.
We need, well, we can.
Well, Lockett Lane, but we can't do Lane.
Fremont Lake Road? Nope, that's Max Street.
The only Lake Street you guys, one of them's in the county. You guys had no jurisdiction on that one. Lake Avenue, you do. You can change Lake Avenue. Fremont Lake Road is like half and half, right? Like half.
That is that is confusing. There's a lake in both.
I think it would be also just as, if we decide to move forward with this, I'd love to just get a sense for like what kind of capacity burden this will be for you and Chelsea, because this looks like a lot, and I know you have a lot.
It'll be simple for us.
Okay, it'll be hard for us.
It'll be a certified mailers saying on behalf of the town, we are changing your address. Now, each person's burden is significant.
So when you say burden, are you talking a financial burden or a time and effort burden?
Well, more of a time and effort burden, but one of the things I would ask of I don't know how like a mortgage.
Yeah.
You'd have to like,
that's why I was
change your deed or something.
It should be tied to the deed, and the deed is lot and block. So I don't feel like a mortgage should be an issue, because the mortgages are tied to the deed.
I'll have to look at my
It
mortgage.
would be helpful too to know what the burden is going to be on the property owner, just for us as we proceed to know who is going to be yelling at us about what.
We're going to have to defend it. And like, it looks like me personally, I'm going to have to go through it. But, although I'm kind of curious what my new address would be, but,
What do you want?
What are you now?
it's 289 and the house next to me is 309. So I don't see why it's a
Oh,
problem.
yeah, we were talking about yours.
So it should be 389?
Yep.
Interesting. Okay.
I tried to only make it safe to buy one new letter to go in front of your house.
Oh, that's the financial burden piece. Okay.
Well, there's that, and
I
then
mean,
I would think like all the utilities are gonna have to make changes, and, so it's gonna impact not just citizens,
Yeah,
but
because the utilities.
businesses and stuff will have to change things.
The bigger issue is like, for example.
But if we have the certified letter, I feel like it should be easier.
Yeah, I don't know what their process is for changing an address.
Like power and fiber and all that fun
I
stuff.
can do this one. Like this one goes in the wrong direction.
Because you guys will have,
Look at that.
477, 475.
447.
Going south.
in a weird, honest question, did people just pick them?
So.
Like, is that what we're looking
That's
at here?
I mean, this is 30 years of errors, right? So
Utilities.
someone made an error here and there. We assigned these at the time of building permit, and Chelsea has went and assigned every vacant lot in Pinedale an address so that we don't make these mistakes. But this map that was created originally by WLC, I didn't even know this existed for the town of Pinedale. So I don't know if past planning and zoning even had this map that breaks out the lot and blocks in a naming convention or not. It looks as if there was some timeframes where people were doing the best that they can. And they missed missed it by a block or
Yeah,
some of them don't always make sense. Like when you get into Trails Creek, there's one in Trails Creek that I'm not sure how it got permitted the way it did, but its address is literally 60 and they should be 800s and 900s. Its address.
Did they choose? Yeah, that's where I was
They
curious.
did it off of the lot number. And so you just kind of get in some odd pools of where stuff doesn't make sense.
It's going to suck, but like, as long as you guys send out letters, I think that people can send to the utilities, the insurance
Can we
companies,
create a
the mortgage
Facebook
companies.
page? Like, no, it should be. I mean, like something like Town of Pinedale.
Gosh, you're going to get lit up.
Just make it easy for them, and then we can monetize it. We can make some money out of it.
Obviously.
I remember years ago, I wanted to have a Facebook page, but Maureen said that the problem is that Facebook has to be tied to a person.
Yep.
And so there's not a good way to do it as a.
We're just going to have to
Need a
be
max
ready.
sign. It'll
Yeah.
be tied to Mr. Pinedale.
Yeah. Town of Pinedale should have a couple of mascots.
Yeah, I'm up for that.
Anyway, it needs to be changed.
It's like the Stanford tree. That's what it would be.
Hey, we have a couple mascots.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's an even.
a Girl Scout and a wolf chasing them down the street.
We need to get a replica of the Stanford pine tree. Technically it's a redwood.
All right, go ahead.
Stanford.
I think at the end of the day, we're all saying yes.
Yeah, we're just figuring out how to.
I still turn to say no, but.
And find out about anything, because I don't think, that seems like a light lift. If we're gonna do it, might as well do it. It's a silly name.
Well, I feel like if we're gonna do that, we should look at Lake too. Just
I look at what?
Lake, just because he's right, you know, it doesn't make
No,
sense.
that
for us
has
to-
much more impact on.
That's a safety.
It's, that one is, it's a small street, there's more people on it than doing here, but it's,
That could be,
our section is shorter than the one that's in the county, so
I guess.
quite a bit shorter.
I feel like changing 3 addresses versus changing 20.
I don't know if the county's gonna do us any favors by changing that.
Changing 100 of.
Yes. All right, next item,
Sorry.
H.
Go for it.
Yeah.
We will need your personal numbers in order to direct traffic.
All right, so we have 13 ordinances and resolutions.
We got it.
I'll get it started. You ready?
Are we gonna actually doing this organized, like, you know, it's just gonna share turns?
We just go down the line.
Last time.
Let's go down the line. Should go.
Okay,
Rock and roll.
but I need, okay.
I move that we accept an order.
Next.
He planned his escape.
Enjoy your time.
Yep, have
Nice
fun
try.
in
See you,
Texas.
Max.
Move that we accept ordinance of the town of Pinedale, ordinance 720, an ordinance of the town of Pinedale, state of Wyoming, amending subsection 160-22B to providing notice shall be made by certified mail to all property owners and proof of mailing be submitted to the town no less than 10 days prior to the hearing.
Also good.
Moved by Councilman Loftus, seconded by Councilman Swafford to approve ordinance 720 on its second read. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Next is ordinance 721.
I move that we approve ordinance 721 on the second read, an ordinance of the town of Pinedale, state of Wyoming, amending subsections 160-24C to change the term conditional use to special development.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Swafford, seconded by Councilwoman Boyce to approve ordinance 721 on its second read. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Next up is ordinance 722 on its second read.
I move that we approve ordinance 722 on second read, an ordinance of the town of Pinedale, state of Wyoming, amending subsection chapter 160-24D to change the approving party from the Planning and Zoning Commission to Town Council.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Boyce, seconded by Councilman Kosiba to approve ordinance 722 on its second read. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Next up is ordinance 723 on its second read.
I move that we approve ordinance 723 on its second read, an ordinance of the town of Pinedale, state of Wyoming, amending subsection chapter 160-26B4, providing notice shall be made by certified mail to all property owners and proof of mailing be submitted to the town no less than 10 days prior to the hearing.
Second that.
Moved by Councilman Kosiba, second by Councilman Loftus to approve ordinance 723 on second read. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Now ordinance 724 on its second read.
I move that we accept ordinance 724 on its second read, an ordinance of the town of Pinedale, state of Wyoming, amending subsection 400-22C1 to change the scheduled hearing from no less than 45 days to no more than 60 days.
I'll second.
Okay, moved by Councilman Loftus, second by Councilman Swafford to approve ordinance 724 on its second read. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Next up is ordinance 725 on its second read.
I move that we approve ordinance 725 on the second read, an ordinance of the town of Pinedale, state of Wyoming, amending subsection chapter 400-27 to remove the A before all.
Second.
Okay, moved by Councilman Swafford and seconded by Councilwoman Boyce to approve ordinance 725 on its second read. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Next up is 726 on its second read.
I move that we approve ordinance 726 on second read, an ordinance of the town of Pinedale, state of Wyoming, amending subsection chapter 400-34C to change the scheduled hearing date from no less than 30 days from the notice distribution to entities to no more than 60 days from the notice distribution to entities.
All right, move up. Oh, sorry.
Second.
We're just going so fast. Second by Councilman Cosipa to approve ordinance 726 on its second read. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries on 5-0. Next up is ordinance 727.
I move that we approve ordinance 727 on second read, an ordinance of the town of Pinedale, state of Wyoming, amending subsection 475-298D of chapter 475 of article, what is it?
34.
34, thank you, of the Pinedale Municipal Code titled Map Amendment Applications.
I'll second that.
Moved by Councilman Cosiba, seconded by Councilman Loftus to approve ordinance 727 on its second read. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Next up is ordinance 728 on its second read.
I move that we approve ordinance 728 on the second read, an ordinance of the town of Pinedale, state of Wyoming, creating subsection 475-149, period 23 of the article
17B.
17B of chapter 475 of the Pinedale Municipal Code titled Fences and Walls.
I will second.
Moved by Councilman Loftus, seconded by Councilman Swafford to approve ordinance 728 on its second read. All those in favor? I know. Discussion?
Mr. Mayor, we did add the recommendation between first and second read from planning and zoning, which included the 6.5 foot heights on the side yards, 4 foot on the front yard. It's in blue on your agenda packet.
Why do we do that?
We discussed it and then we made a motion to add it on the first read.
I know.
So I think everybody liked it. We just didn't get it in the. first
And it matches what we
Yeah,
have
matches
elsewhere.
R1, R2.
I don't think it changes your motion though.
So
I was just joking.
All right. Moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Next up is 729 on a second read.
I move that we approve ordinance 729 on the second read, an ordinance of the town of Pinedale, state of Wyoming, amending subsection chapter 475-16 of article 3 to move zone district R2A as a higher and better use than zone district R2.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Swafford, second by Councilwoman Boyce to approve ordinance 729 on its second read. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries 5-0. Next up is ordinance 730 on its first read. This is our annual appropriation ordinance for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2026. It's a scary ordinance. As council as probably just to remind council, what we like to do is get a first, maybe even a second read in as we move into workshopping, and then we'll slow down a little bit to get the final third read done by the end of June so that we're aligned. So this just keeps us aligned with the scheduling. So I'm really not going to invite a lot of comment because we're going to probably talk about this later, but I do encourage people to look at this. We are losing quite a bit of, not losing, we are down quite a bit of money. Maureen, what's your estimate of how much we're down? I've got 225 on my head.
You're on mute, Maureen, if you can hear us. Too much stuff.
I walked away to go get a glass of red.
You know what's coming.
Amy, how much are we down in our revenue?
I might try to open it up. Just give me a second.
Oh, it's 3.
Well, we're down 25%. Then we have other numbers that are coming in kind of not good as well.
I need the spreadsheets. I needed to compare it to last year.
It's almost like the economy's not really gotten better.
Well, it's not even that. I mean, I think we need to be very frank that this 25% reduction on residential is a big hit, and there is no backfill. There is currently a war against local government in the state of Wyoming. You haven't been reading the news. It's kind of crazy. It's out there. I mean, some people report it as news and some people report it as actual news, but we are being hit hard, and public records is going to be coming up this next session. The whole time on public records was flat out scary as well. So we are down, what, 309,000? So it's about, yeah.
Right at a little over 300,000.
So,
There you go.
If you didn't know, oh, Maureen's calling. Hey, how about that? How are you?
Good, thanks. Sorry about that. I was not getting coverage.
I'm not saying that you do that on a regular basis. I just thought.
Certainly not while I'm working. But anyway, yeah, we're down about 309,000 on revenue. And that's a pretty conservative figure.
Yeah, okay. So it might come up a little bit more, but again, we're being hit. We might, I mean, we are pushing really hard to get the taxes changed for the following year, but that may not happen. So I don't know if anybody's been watching the other news, the real news, or whatever news you call it. Rock Springs is currently looking at shutting down one of its rec centers.
Yep.
Because they just can't afford to keep it up. And meanwhile, people are screaming their head off saying, no, you got to keep it open. And he's like, how do I do this? We're losing $1 million a year. So there are towns around the state that are going to definitely demonstrate. So we are going to have some cuts. Some of this is going to be probably reflected in our whatever road stuff we do, some other things, but
Right, and I think you'll see that some of them are just being a little bit stunned right now, but there are other municipalities who are going to be cutting out essential services that aren't going to be doing any of their street work this year.
Yep.
They're just not making the headlines that Rock Springs is.
Yeah, no, it's going to be painful. So, and it could get more painful just below.
Thanks, legislature.
Yeah. Yeah, all right. So do we have a motion on this? If not, I'll take a motion, please. I think it's up to you, Councilwoman.
Okay, I move that
Maureen,
we.
I'm gonna hang up on you unless you want to say anything else.
No, thank you. Hi,
Okay.
everybody.
Maureen.
I move that we approve ordinance 730 on first read and annual appropriation ordinance for fiscal year ending June 30, 2026.
Second.
All right, moved by Councilwoman Boyce, how ironic. And second by Councilman Cosiva to approve ordinance 730 on its first read. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. All right, do we actually have?
Yes.
Okay.
The date in the ordinance for
15th.
Yeah, it needs to be moved from 6/1 to 5/15.
I'm sorry, which one?
It's a
On H12. We
Okay.
needed a date from Hannah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we got that. Well, I was gonna ask is what dates do we have for working on the budget?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna ask that. Budget workshop.
I thought you were jumping.
Nope, I was, but I wasn't. So did we have dates? I feel like Amy, we discussed dates. I feel like they're in my calendar someplace. Do you happen to know where?
Are you talking in June or in May?
I don't know. Like I said, I feel like we had a whole discussion.
Discuss doing a workshop.
Your calendars, would they
Yeah.
sync up? There you go on the other computer.
What were the dates for Hannah's?
So instead of June 1st, which I think is in the ordinance, or
May 15th.
May 15th. Or that's what they requested. They're losing some rainy days, but.
I don't know. Hey. When do we want to have a budget workshop? I thought we had looked at this. Why am I not?
We discussed this meeting being our first one.
Yep.
And then we discussed having a workshop for the second meeting, but we
That's
didn't
right.
set dates.
Hey, that's what we are. So the next meeting though is going to be the May 27th
The
meeting.
morning meeting?
And I think having pizza at 8 a.m. in the morning would be bad.
For yourself.
My house.
Yeah, I do.
I do that all the time.
Whole place is a different discussion, but
I kind of prefer them to be separate just because it takes so long and those meetings turn into such long.
Yeah,
Yes.
we'll be in the right mind space too.
So
For meeting.
when would you like to do a workshop? I think we want to give staff a little bit more time to run some more numbers that they've been going. I would say possibly the first week of June.
I think that should be.
Isn't that Wham?
Wham, I have is a second week.
Second week, yeah.
Yeah, so let's go for the first week of June.
I'm good with that.
We could do June 2nd and have it as a Monday evening meeting.
That's a planning and zoning. Did you set a planning and zoning meeting for that day?
There is a planning and zoning at 5:00.
Yeah. I don't want to do that.
Inside of this room.
Okay,
And I can't do Tuesday.
cannot do Tuesday. How about Wednesday? Do I hear June 4th?
I can do that.
June 4th, you want to do it at lunchtime or you want to do it at dinner time?
I'm flexible on that day.
I'd rather do evening, because those can take a few hours and it's hard to keep up
You
with.
said evening, you said evening.
That's fine with me.
All right, let's go for, shall we go 5 o'clock, June 4th? Okay. We'll get pizza. Budget workshop.
I mean, the second read is that following.
Up there.
It could be, yeah.
So we're not gonna do second read the 27th.
Or we could do the second read on this at the budget meeting too.
Oh, I see what you're saying, yeah. Yeah, because we'd all
I
be.
feel like that's what we normally do, isn't it?
Yeah.
June 4th, 5 PM.
5 PM.
So push the.
So we'll have the second read will be on June 4th, not the May 26th, which will be good. That way we can just let the May 27th meeting just be kind of like end of month stuff that has to be dealt with.
So you're gonna do third read on the 9th, or are you gonna wait and do it later in the month?
Probably later in the month, just in case we have to tweak it.
Makes sense.
We have to get it done by
Do
the
the 20
month, so we'll just,
23rd.
yeah. I mean, because more numbers are coming in, revenue, loss. you
Yeah.
know,
No,
so
I agree. I think later's better.
we might suddenly realize that we're being too conservative and we're actually gonna have lots of money.
In my experience, whenever Maureen says that's a conservative estimate,
Yeah, then
Which is
usually more bleak.
Yeah.
right?
it ends up being more bleak than what we're.
Yeah, all right, so now let's go on, H12, so we have those meetings set. Now we'll go to H12, this is resolution 2025-6. This is the approving a temporary non-conforming manufactured home permit pursuant to 160-20B7 temporary use to begin on May 15th, if I understand correctly.
Yes.
All right,
I move that we approve resolution 2025-06, a resolution approving a temporary non-conforming manufactured home permit pursuant to chapter 160-20B7 temporary use beginning May 15th, 2025.
I'll second that.
moved by Councilman Castillo, second by Councilman Loftus to approve resolution 2025-06. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Next item is resolution 2025-07. This is a resolution setting rates for the airport. We had a couple of things that we needed to change, like landside storage. There was a misunderstanding somewhere along the line, not really certain where. And they want us to reduce it by $100.
They being airport board?
They being the people who are currently leasing it, because that's how they have it. But the nice thing is they're buying a lot of fuel, which is why we have them in the landside for storage. So we more than make up for the loss of $100.
Okay.
And this is what Riley told them, and so they signed the contract and they thought that's what this is. So I don't know where the fault was. Somewhere between this table and Riley telling those people.
Rallies have to be at all our meetings from now on.
There you go. That could be
Just.
What other change do we have in there?
That's the only thing.
Special use permits.
That's right, $200 per event.
So these things like,
Stole.
Primarily, exclusively stole at this point, yeah.
and then there was another thing I had.
Non-aeronautical use of the hangar.
Yes, is that gonna be affected like when they do like when the Lions Club has the,
That's our event,
okay,
so
so we won't charge ourselves?
No.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Nope.
I move.
Oh,
Oh, is it yours or me?
Dean's turn.
You got it.
you got it. You got it. I'll second it.
Wrestle for it or something.
It's all good. I move that we approve a resolution setting rates and fees for the use of the airport, Ralph Wins Field for the town of Pinedale. Resolution 2025-07.
I'll second.
Moved by Councilman Loftus, second by Councilman Swafford to approve resolution 2025-07. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that motion carries 5-0.
I'm getting old, man.
A well-oiled machine.
Next
I'm the
item,
oldest one on here. You can't take that.
next item is bills. Do you want it?
He was saying he was getting old, and I said, I'm the oldest one on the council, so don't be doing that.
Just by a little. Just by a little.
Yeah, but when the young one says they're old, what does that make the rest of us? Okay, I move that we approve the bills for May 12, 2025 in the amount of $215,808.88, paid with checks 31396 through 31436.
Second.
All right, been moved by Councilman Boyce, second by Councilman Kosiba, to pay the bills for May 12th of 2025 in the amount of $215,808.88, check number 31396 through 31436. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. I will now entertain the motion to discuss real estate.
I move that we enter executive session to discuss real estate.
Okay. Moved by Councilman Swafford, second by Councilman Boyce to go into executive session to discuss real estate. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Peggy, for coming.
Good job, guys. Thank
Well,
you.
you know, we're experts at
Mr.
this.
Mayor, Kenneth Sisson is online, but I would like to exit the publicly published virtual meeting and resend out a new meeting to Kenny to be present for the executive session.
Yeah. Did you get that email? Did you get the email from Kenny?
Yes.
Or from Dana or whatever her name was? Dana? Debbie? Somebody can access my town. I have my town.
So Kenneth, if you can hear me, I will be sending, is there anybody else that needs to?
Nope,
No.
just me.
All right, so you should see a separate invite that will invite you to that meeting and we'll join it momentarily.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.
Okay, so